All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on three powerful acronyms that can seriously change how your business runs: BPMN, DMN, and the BPM Engine. We're going to break down what they are, why you should care, and how they all click together to bring some serious order to your operations. So let's jump right in.
Let me ask you something. Does your business ever feel, well, a little chaotic? You know that feeling, right? Where one team does a task one way, another team has a totally different approach, and trying to get even a simple change approved feels like you're trying to turn a giant battleship.
I bet some of this looks familiar. You've got miscommunications that lead to endless rework. Your customers get a different experience depending on who they talk to. Making small changes becomes this slow, agonizing process. And maybe the worst part of all, the actual way work gets done is a total mystery. It's just hidden away in emails, old documents, or, just in people's heads. This is the exact kind of chaos we're going to talk about solving. So how do we start to bring some order to all this chaos? Well, it all starts with creating a blueprint for your business. And that brings us to our first topic, BPMN. BPMN, it stands for Business Process Model and Notation. Now, the keywords you really want to hang on to here are global standard and graphical notation. This isn't just some random way to draw flowcharts. It's a standardized, universal language for mapping out exactly how your business works. The easiest way to think about it is this. BPMN is like a universal language for drawing your business operations. It's kind of like sheet music. Any musician anywhere in the world can pick it up and play the same song. In the same way, BPMN allows anyone in your company, from a business analyst to a software developer, to look at a diagram and understand the process in the exact same way. And this slide right here perfectly shows you the power of that clarity. So over on the left, you've got a sentence. Seems simple enough, but it's actually full of questions. What happens if it's exactly $200? Who gets notified if it's rejected? But look at the right. The BPMN diagram gets rid of all that doubt. The process flows to a clear decision point, we call that a gateway, and it has two very distinct paths for each outcome. There is absolutely no room for misinterpretation. So here's why this is so crucial. BPMN is needed because it builds a bridge between the business side of the house and the technical IT side. It just slashes ambiguity. And most importantly, it makes your processes visible and understandable to everyone. And let me tell you, when you can finally see a process clearly, that's when you can actually start to improve it. If you take just one thing away about BPMN, let it be this. It's the recipe for your business operations. Plain and simple. It lists the ingredients, which are the tasks, and it gives you the exact step-by-step instructions from beginning to end. Okay, so BPMN gives us the recipe. But what about all those complicated decisions inside the recipe? Well, that's where DMN comes into the picture. Our BPMN blueprint is awesome for showing the flow of work, right? But what happens when you get to one of those decision points? What if the logic for making a choice, like figuring out a customer discount or approving a loan, is actually really complex? If you try to cram all of that logic into your process diagram, it just becomes a huge, unmanageable mess. And that's exactly where DMN comes in. DMN, which stands for Decision Model and Notation, is a standard for modeling your business decisions completely separately from the process flow. It's really the perfect partner for BPMN. And this is what it looks like in practice. It's called a DMN decision table, and it's just a perfect example of how DMN works. It's so clean, simple, and incredibly powerful. On the left, you've got your inputs, in this case, the purchase amount and the customer's tier, and on the right, you have a very clear output, the discount level they get. Every single row is a business rule, and it makes the logic instantly understandable to literally anyone who looks at it. So why bother separating this from the process? Well, there are three huge reasons. First, consistency. With a DMN table, the rules are applied the exact same way every single time, no exceptions. Second, agility. Let's say you need to change a discount policy. You just update the table. You don't have to go back and mess with the entire BPMN process diagram. And third, transparency. You can look back and see exactly why a certain decision was made, which, as you can imagine, is absolutely critical for things like compliance and auditing. So if BPMN is a recipe, think of DMN as the smart rulebook for any of the complex choices within that recipe. It's just a really clean, manageable if-then-else system for your business. Okay, so we have our process blueprint and our decision rulebook. Now it's time for the final, truly game-changing piece, the engine that brings it all to life. So let's just do a quick recap. We've mapped out our entire process using BPMN. We've clearly defined all of our complex business rules with DMN, but right now, they're just diagrams. They're just static models on a screen. The next logical step, of course, is to make them run.
And that right there is the job of the BPM Engine. It's a software system that actually reads your BPMN and DMN models and executes them. It manages the flow of work from step to step, it assigns tasks to people or to other systems, and it calls on those DMN tables to make decisions, all automatically.
I absolutely love this analogy from Camunda. They say the BPM engine is like the conductor of an orchestra. Your BPMN model is the sheet music. The engine is the one standing at the front, making sure every instrument, every task, every team, every system plays its part at the exact right moment, creating a perfectly synchronized operation. So we've seen the 3 core pieces of the puzzle. Now let's put them all together and see how they create something that's way more powerful than the sum of its parts. Okay, so let's bring it all home. First up, you have BPMN. This defines the what and the when. It's the sequence of all the tasks in your process. Paired right alongside that is DMN. DMN defines the how. It's the specific, nitty-gritty logic behind any of the complex decisions in that sequence. And the thing that brings it all to life is the BPM engine. It takes that sequence and that logic and it makes it all happen automatically. And what's the result of all of this? Well, you move from that chaos we talked about in the beginning to a state of total control. Repetitive tasks just run themselves. Processes become way more efficient. They run faster and with way fewer errors. Your business gets this incredible agility because changing a process or a business rule is no longer this massive 6-month project. And maybe for the first time ever, you get real, actual visibility into how your business is performing. And that visibility, that's the crucial next step. Once your processes are up and running automatically, how do you monitor them? How do you find the bottlenecks and make things even better? Well, that whole world is called process observability. If you're ready to gain that kind of deep insight into your operations, you can learn more over at champabpmn.com. Thanks for watching.